We're here to have a good time tonight to share with you about a product that's changing lives all around the world. And it's, in my personal opinion, it's nothing more or less than a miracle. And it's all because it's has nothing to do with drugs. You ever notice that when man touches something, he tends to mess it up? So this is just all natural things that is changing lives big time in regards to our health, mental acuity, mood, sleep, everything. But I don't want you to hear just from me. I'm going to share my screen with you and see if I can do this without messing it up. It worked good in rehearsal. We'll see what happens. So I'm going to share the middle part of my screen. Hopefully that works. And then I'm going to we'll start off with listening to my friend Wes.
Hello, my name is Wes Miller, and this video is my testimonial for Go Love Life. I've been taking Go Love Life now for about 3 months. I really like what it's done for me. As far as my testimonial, when I started taking Go Love Life, one of the first things that I noticed was I started to feel like I had a normal gut, which was crazy because I didn't know that I didn't have a normal gut until I started taking it and I started feeling regulated. And it's like, wow, I didn't know I had digestive problems, but now I feel like a normal person, and it was a great feeling, to have the gut regulated. That's something I noticed after a couple of days of taking Go Love Life. But what really hit me about Go Love Life, which was really powerful, was I'm a runner. I like to do endurance runs, distance runs. I've recently completed my first mini marathon. And training up to that mini marathon, I started taking Go Love Life, and I was starting to do longer runs than what I was used to doing. And typically what would happen is I would run a 10K and take me 2 or 3 days to get enough energy to run another longer race. Well, when I started taking Go Love Life, I noticed that my recovery time between these long runs was significantly less. And I noticed that one day, I ran about 7 miles that morning, and then later on that day I went and ran out another 4, and I still had all the energy, that I did when I ran that first race. So, I really noticed the recovery between the workouts was getting very significant on Go Love Life. And I've seen that over the last couple of months since I started taking it as well. Last week I just ran my best mile. So I continuously set record performances in my running, and I think that Go Love Life has had a great impact on that, certainly. So I highly recommend Go Love Life to anyone interested to see how far they can push themselves in their athletic feats.
So you can imagine a young guy like Wes, athlete, the benefits that he's acquiring from it. So just imagine what kind of benefits those of us that aren't young and healthy and exercising and everything the way that he does. And it's remarkable. I did get to talk to Wes about 2-3 days ago, and I asked him, is he still noticing the same thing about it? He said, yeah, he don't even worry about recovery anymore. And he also said that his sleep has improved. He has worked really hard over the last year or two in changing his life. He stopped drinking, he stopped smoking, and so now he gets up at 5:30 every morning and reads and writes a journal. And so he's just really trying to work on himself. And he said he definitely notices a difference just in his overall health. So I appreciated Wes sharing some of that with us. Now this is Rich. He's from Dallas, Texas. And he also had a really interesting story. Now we're stepping over from the athlete to COVID. Nothing could be more dramatic than what it's done to some people with that, right?
Hi guys, this is Rich, better known as Claudia Richardson out of Dallas, Texas. I believe that my purpose is truly to share and share what has been given to me. I believe in anything that's given, much is given, much is required, and I believe that I've been given a lot, and so I like to give a lot. So I love to share good news. I had no idea what a microbiome was. I thought it was, something with dealing with microbiology or so. When they said microbiome, I was like, but what is that? But to find out how powerful the microbiome is, and to be 56 years old, and to find out about it for the very first time and understand that everything, all illness, sickness, and disease begins in the gut I've always heard that you are what you eat, but literally we are what we eat. And learning about the microbiome has been the best thing I've ever heard about, and I truly believe that we now have discovered the fountain of youth, the fountain of health, actually. I actually had just had a perfect physical, back in this past summer, and I had clean bill of health, and 2 weeks later I wound up getting hit with the Delta COVID that knocked me off my feet, and I found myself in ICU fighting for my life for 6 weeks on life support. And then after doing that, coming home on oxygen for 2 months, and then not being able to walk and have to learn how to walk again, all the way from August until just 6 weeks ago, which was on March the 8th, is when I found out about this incredible company. But during that time, my body started getting worse. Even after coming home and recovering from COVID, I started having kidney issues. I was having neuropathy in my feet. My hands would tremble and were shaking. My hands were just literally, I could not believe it that they were just literally shaking. I was really having a terrible cough. For months I've been coughing and mucus and just really wasn't feeling well, wasn't feeling strong, and could not exercise. And when I got started on this product, 3 days after being on it, the cough went away. The mucus dried up. The neuropathy is now gone from my feet. I'm no longer limping. I have energy like I would not believe. My trembling is no longer in my hands. I just really feel, I feel healthy compared to how I was feeling just prior to that. And so that is why I'm so excited about this incredible product company, because I know for a fact that the products truly have helped me. And I believe that if you give the body what it needs, the body will heal itself. And I'm just excited to be a part of sharing that good news with everybody.
So maybe you've never heard of the gut microbiome. I know I hadn't. I had heard about gut health, but always kind of knew I wasn't going to eat the kind of foods my wife wanted me to eat, because she was doing good at not eating a lot of meat and eating a lot of vegetables. And I was going to go to my grave kicking and screaming. Didn't realize it was going to get there a little quicker than I thought. But as you can see on this slide, this isn't new, folks. Hippocrates was talking about gut health 2,500 years ago. So this isn't new. Unfortunately, we as humans sometimes we're a little slow to respond to the good information that's available to us out there. But it was said way back then that the common thread in disease processes are a lack of bacteria diversity and a decrease in good bacteria in our gut. So it's something that it hasn't been a secret. Matter of fact, one of the things I highly, highly recommend everybody, if you're looking at this for the first time, you owe it to yourself to Google or whatever type system you use to gather information. If it's not Google, I don't know, Siri, whatever the things are that are available to gather information. Just put in gut microbiome or gut health, and you'll see all this stuff. Now this, I actually typed in the gut and the gut-brain connection. And there's a nerve that runs from the brain to the gut called the vagus nerve. And it actually, they communicate with one another. And that's why you might have heard that saying before, you know, had a gut feeling. Well, that's literal. That's real. The gut communicates with your brain. And it's important. If you notice, I pulled off information from the least important sites I could find, you know, like Harvard. Obviously, I'm kidding. Look, if Harvard knows all this stuff, we should know it. I mean, shouldn't we? So it's a situation where we're going to teach you a little bit more about it tonight. But, you know, for you really to benefit from this, you owe it to yourself to do some research on your own so you understand what and why this product does what it does. And so you heard these two guys talking about what it's done for them, and I wanted you to see why. The long COVID is connected to your brain and to your gut, and that's why we wanted to share that with you. Now, this is a little clip I want to share with you that I saw one day on the Today Show, and this was back in, I started on the product in February, so it was sometime in March I saw this. I went, hey, that stuff, that gut microbiome, as I thought it was called back then. Well, check it out.
It's time for a gut check, and by that we mean literally what is in your gut. It affects everything from your mood to your immunity to your metabolism.
Dr. Roshni Raj is a gastroenterologist and author of a new book. It's called Gut Renovation: Unlock the Age-Defying Power of the Microbe to Remodel Your Health from the Inside. The gut is something that doesn't get enough attention, and it does affect every part of your body.
Every single part from head to toe. And that's why I wrote this book, because I've always been fascinated by our microbiome, that community of bacteria and organisms that affect everything from head to toe. But there's been an explosion in the last few years on the research on really what are the mechanisms behind it.
And here's her book. And I know myself, as well as several others on the call, have ordered it. And it's very interesting, especially when you find a product like Go Love Life that fits the bill of every, because if you Google or you go to YouTube and you put in gut microbiome, there's millions, literally millions of videos from doctors, science teams, all talking about this gut microbiome. And when you start watching the ones that say, well, what are the foods that help it? You know, the whole time I'm thinking, well, I'm in trouble because I'm not going to eat any of that stuff. And so it's kind of sad, but it's true. And then I learned that there's a product that I can take that covers all that for me. I don't have to worry about it. And that's what we're going to share with you. So there are really three questions that most people ask if they're health conscious at all. And that is there a beginning to good health? Is there one thing that I can do today that'll actually make a difference? And is there one idea that's fundamental to achieving optimal health? Those are really the things that most people want to know. Because if it's going to entail, shopping at 20 stores, and it's going to, where did it come from? How was it grown? Has it got bug spray on it? It's endless. All the things that you have to worry about to get a good source of the things that help you. But in short, the answer to these questions is yes, there is. Good health starts by addressing this microenvironment that exists in your digestive system. It's called your gut microbiome. We want you to get acquainted with this system because it literally is the center of good health. When Dr. Raj in that report said that it literally controls everything from the tip of your head to the bottom of your feet, I'm a smart aleck, so I immediately Googled dandruff, gut microbiome. Yep, it was there. And then I Googled toenail fungus and gut microbiome, and yep, it was there. So it's a situation where these things it's totally effective from top to bottom, and it all has to do with creating this ideal microbiome, this environment within your gut, and everything you put in your mouth is either going to benefit your gut microbiome or it is going to be detrimental. And remember this, everyone that you know that has a gut, and I say that because I've actually met a lady that hers has been removed, she doesn't have a stomach, but anybody other than that, it's a situation where if it goes in your mouth, it's going to have an effect. And if you're not using Go Love Life, it's detrimental to your health. Just plain and simple, because there's nothing else available that does everything Go Love Life does. So here's an idea of what I'm talking about. Here's the effects of the microbiome. Immune system, blood sugar, brain function, mood, sleep. And these aren't all of it. It's many others. But this gives you the idea that it's the main functions of human health that are affected by your microbiome. Now, it's really about the plants. It's about these plant-based foods and herbs and teas and ancient grains that affect your good health. But here's the different areas that we found that science has discovered that you have to get all the good things in the environment, not necessarily your environment, because you got to go all around the world to get this stuff. So yeah, this is the things that grow in your organic garden. Things come from the remote areas of the earth, like the superfruits, Noni, Goji, Zango, all these different superfruits. And then you got the exotic markets, and as I've already mentioned, the ancient sources, all things that are important for the gut microbiome. Now, just talking about the garden, the phytonutrients that are in organic fruits and vegetables are really nature's gift of light and color. And they're critical to managing aging and performance, as Wes was telling us. So the powerful superfruits also come from remote sources. You got starfruit, cornelia cherry, mangosteen, pomegranate, all these things that you see here, plus many more that are the effects of good bacteria and the type of bacteria that eliminates the bad bacteria. So you hear people all the time about, oh, I take probiotics. Okay, I did too, but it isn't the answer, as you're going to see this evening. Then you got healing herbs and spices, again, coming from all around the world. Then ancient civilizations knew of these different ingredients, and again, there are many more that have a beneficial effect on the gut microbiome. And one thing that many people don't realize is that there's a reason for the color of your food. As a former cookware nutritionist, I know that when it comes to these colors in these foods, the colors are the vitamins. The flavor of these foods you're looking at come from the minerals. And I don't want you to take my word for it, so let's give you a little quiz to prove it. You're eating some food you don't really like the taste, it needs a little something. What's the first thing you put on it? You probably just answered salt. Yes, that is. And what is salt? It's a mineral, and that's why it flavors your food. So just a cool little thing. There won't be a quiz later or anything, but you never know, you might be on Jeopardy, and it might be a trivia question for you. The color of your foods are the vitamins, and the flavors of the food is your minerals. Now, when we talk about this, in this country especially, we hear all the time about you need more green. None of us eat enough green foods. Well, if you notice, these are all the sources of the United States American diet. And even that there's all this push for green, 69% of us don't get enough of it. And look at the things that the green foods help. Breast health, antioxidants, skin, anti-diabetic, anti-aging, anti-inflammatory. These foods help those things. So, it makes sense. Well, why wouldn't we want to get more? Well, we would if there was an easy way to do it and we didn't have to go pick it. We didn't have to eat a bunch of stuff that we don't like, right? Then the blue and purple foods, 76% of us don't get enough of it. And again, look at the things it helps. Red foods, now you're talking heart health, prostate health, lung health, bladder, colon, pancreas, again, autoimmune disorders, pulmonary disease, all benefit from getting these red foods. But here's the bad one, orange and yellow. 80% of us, we don't get enough of this. And again, the orange and the yellows help us with free radicals that you hear about all the time. Your immune system, heart health, skin health, all come as a result of these colored foods that we're not getting enough of. And here's what the U.S. food consumption is based on calories. It's probably similar to this in other countries. Not all. I know there are some countries they use the American diet as their don't story. If Americans eat it, don't eat it. You'll probably be better off. And it's probably more truth than humor, right? But in the American diet, 25% of our diet comes from animal food. 63% of it is processed food. This is things with added fats, oils, sugars, refined grains. You know that in the United States of America, 100 years ago, the average American ate approximately 10 to 12 pounds of sugar in their diet a year. Do you know what it is today? 150 pounds. 150 pounds of sugar. That's why it almost don't matter what product you pick up. If it's in a can or a bottle, it's got sugar added to it. I mean, pick the product. That sugar added to all of it. And only 12% of our diets are coming from whole grains, foods, nuts, and seeds the way it ought to be. Well, Go Live Life is changing all that. The one thing that we started with is the Noni. The founders of this company actually were the ones that founded the Noni company that you may have heard a lot about in the past. It was actually the fastest growing company in the world from 1996 till 2008. And why? Is because they learned about this fruit that became the first superfruit. But now, because these guys had these scientists and these doctors that they developed relationships with, they learned about another thing called red light fermentation. And they found that when you subject these superfruits, and they also do it to turmeric, they found that when you subject it to this red light fermentation, it actually increases its beneficial properties. So they've learned, Go Live Life is actually, they haven't patented this, but it's trademarked, so it can never be duplicated. And Go Live Life uses 630 nanometers of this red light. It's the most effective light that enhances microbial reaction in the fruits and vegetables. And here's what it does. There's an ingredient in these fruits called polyphenols. And they're a category of compounds that are naturally found in plants, and they act as a natural antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and have the beneficial bacteria that's necessary for the gut microbiome. And when you subject these things to this red light fermentation, look, it increases those polyphenols by 25%. So that's why we now have Super Noni. It is actually the next level, if you will, of what the Noni product has helped other people with. But check this out. To me, this is mind-boggling. So there's 96 fruits, vegetables, herbs, spices, and teas that science has found that are the most beneficial for the gut microbiome. And what's interesting is you got to know which of these to use, because they can work symbiotically and help each other, or they can counteract each other. So it has to make sure that you have the right ones. Then the next thing we had to figure out is where you're going to get them. Because just, getting them all where you might be able to find some of these things in the United States, the soil, the sun, the water conditions aren't the same as other countries. So these products that are these three things you're looking at right here, 2 liquids and a powder, has 96 ingredients, and they're sourced from where they can be obtained, where they grow the best in the world. We actually go there and get them, and that's how these products are made. So it's mind-boggling the amount of effort that's been done. But when you heard Rich talk about 3 days, his cough was gone. You heard Wes within a week being able to exercise and run like never before. His body's recovering. This is why. This is why. It's amazing, folks. It's amazing. So all the benefits are kind of the same things that we talked about before. All these things are benefited by having a healthy microbiome. And that's what we want to see all our friends and loved ones obtain to, right? Now we're going to tell my story. This is my bucket. I actually took this picture on the back shelf of my house. This is my Amazon Prime subscription. It was almost $250 a month. And there you can look at the list of the things I was purchasing. And, look, I'm figuring if I'm going to buy this stuff, I'm guessing, you don't know, because, when I finally started getting improvement in my health from Go Live Life, when I went back to the doctor, I was giving them this list of stuff I had been taking that I stopped taking. And you know what she told me? Well, most of it was just going to the toilet anyway. I'm like, what? Here, and it went like probiotic as an example. Well, there's a $10 bottle, and there's a $15 bottle, and there's a $25 bottle, and there's a $40 bottle. Well, I'm an American, so, the $40 bottle's got to be better than the $10 bottle, right? So that's the ones I bought. Spending almost $250 a month on all this stuff. That Neurovine on the bottom, that's because I had, I'm diabetic. I'm insulin-dependent diabetic, and my foot neuropathy was getting really, really bad. I was willing to do anything to try to help it. That product alone was like $50, $60 a month. So all this went in the garbage. I don't do any of this anymore. Well, if you'll notice on this slide, down there it shows that this was taken on November 23rd of 2021. And here in Louisville, Kentucky, where I live, there's this thing called MyChart. These are, it's a hospital network, Norton's Hospital here in the Louisville area. And I went in. The reason I went in, I didn't even know about Go Love Life yet. That came out into my life in February, actually the last day of January of this year. So when I went in for this check, they did blood work on me, and it was just a follow-up visit. I hadn't been in over a year. I did have a heart attack in April 6th of 2021. And so, excuse me, it was less than a year. This was kind of like a follow-up. They wanted to check my blood, see what was going on. Well, here's the thing. If you notice the standard range of this gamma, whatever it is, it's a enzyme in the liver. It's supposed to be between 12 and 64. Look what mine was, 1379. The doctor was like, are you an alcoholic? No. Do you drink a lot of alcohol? No, not really. I mean, I might have 2-3 drinks a month, maybe. I'm just not a big drinker at all. Okay, well, we need to get you. I had to go for an MRI and everything because then they brought up the C word. That they're afraid it could be cancer. Well, here's the other enzymes. This is liver, bone, other things. Look how high they were, and they were concerned for me. Well, needless to say, I was getting pretty concerned myself because they start bringing this stuff up. They got to do a pretty good job of scaring you to death. Well, in addition to that, here's the medicines that I was on. Metformin, 2,000 milligrams a day. Carvedilol, that is a high blood pressure medicine. I was at 6.25 milligrams, and I had to take 1.5 of those twice a day. Then I was on lisinopril, that is another blood pressure medicine. Then this hydro thing, that helped with coagulation. Prasugrel, though, is the one they won't let me stop because I have 7 stents now, and they said I'll probably be on that the rest of my life because it's supposed to prevent clotting, and they can't take chances that the blood tends to build up in these stents at all. So that's what that's supposed to do for me. And then the atorvastatin, that is an antistatin, and so that's for cholesterol. And then so those are the meds that I was on January 1. In addition to that, I told you I was an insulin-dependent diabetic. I was taking 2 different kinds of insulin, anywhere from 20 to 80 units a day. And then on January 31, I learned about Go Love Life. I actually, the founders of this company invited me because I worked with them for 20 years in the Noni company, and they knew that I was still drinking Noni from the other company back in February when I first started this. But this is called the Daily 3 system. And since I started that, watch what happened. Now, I had to go back to the doctor. And I had to go back mainly because my blood sugar was correct. My body was correcting itself. And look at what was going on with my glucose. Look how it went straight down. I mean, this just being on this product for less than 3 months. And I wasn't checking my blood sugar, wasn't checking my blood pressure the way I'm supposed to. So I don't know if you realize it, but if you don't have a blood sugar problem and you shoot diabetes in your body, it could kill you. My blood sugar is supposed to be somewhere between 80 and 120. That's what they call the good range. And my sugar went down to 34. I had to call an ambulance to come take me to the hospital. And it was simply because I took insulin the way I always had based on what my reading was that morning, and it almost killed me. That's how I found out that Go Love Life was helping my glucose. And here's what the final synopsis, if you will, the results were of that visit. My labs look good. Look at my liver enzymes. Completely normal. They left me on Lipitor but cut it to 20 milligrams. 3 weeks ago, they took me off Lipitor completely. It's no longer on my list at all. Then my cholesterol is stable. The atorvastatin that you saw before, I was at 80. Now I'm at 20. I'm below the 7 for my A1C. And the doctor actually told me that I'm probably months away from coming off insulin completely. I don't know about you, but that's pretty exciting news to me. And so now my insulin, Today, I took 8 units this morning, and that's all I've taken today. Yesterday, my blood sugar was within range. It was like 104, and so I didn't take any insulin yesterday morning. I went the entire day. I didn't check it in the middle of the day like I'm supposed to. So before I went to bed, I checked it. I was guessing in my mind that it was going to be probably 140 or 150, and I checked it, and it was 114. So I didn't have to take insulin at all yesterday. Today, I took 8 units, and I don't know what, I haven't checked it again like I'm supposed to, but I will before I go to bed, because that tells me whether or not I should take any insulin or not. I don't know about you, but that's some major good news for a guy living with the junk I've had to live with. So here, again, please, folks, Google it. When I Googled the diabetes and the gut microbiome, look at this is a list that came up. This came from the National Library of Medicine. And again, it talks about how type 2 diabetics, it matters what your gut microbiome is doing. Then I Googled high blood pressure. And your gut bacteria plays a huge role in your blood pressure. My blood pressure was, that's why I told you all the medicines that cut in half or removed them completely. And that's because I was so dizzy a couple, 3 days in a row, I couldn't drive. And it was because I didn't check my blood pressure, but I took the blood pressure medicine. Again, it almost killed me. So it's a situation where, first of all, go to the doctor before you start using Go Love Life. I recommend you go get your checkup so you get your blood work done and you can see where you're at. And then in a month, 2 or 3 months down the road, but make sure you're staying in communication. If you're diabetic or blood pressure issues, check it daily so that you're not taking medicines when you shouldn't be taking the medicines. Does that make sense? And so now what we're going to do is I have another testimonial for you. This is a gentleman that's now 4 or 5 weeks of using Go Love Life, and he has got a great testimony. He is from another country, lives here in America now. He lives in Georgia, beautiful state of Georgia. And I'd like for Compton Beaton to come on and join us. Billy, make sure you turn on his mic or let him unmute. And Compton, if you would, please share with our audience what Go Love Life has done for you.
Okay. Should I go through a testimonial?
Yes, please.
Testimonial. Now, for some time now, I haven't been able to sleep well at night and would wake up in the morning with a severe headache. I would have to take a pain reliever and relax for a few hours to sleep better. I also had a pain in my lower back that I couldn't get rid of. It's been a little over 6 weeks since I started using that is Go Love Life. Now in the morning, I would mix the next balance, which is the next detox, and the fight toe and the phyto power in 8 ounces of water, and take it all at once. I have discovered that since I started this routine, I sleep better at nights and no longer have to deal with the morning headaches. I also discovered that the backache is gone and I have more energy throughout the day. I would recommend Go Love Life to anyone who is suffering from an ailment, because I sincerely believe that Go Love Life did wonders for me. Go Love Life.
Thank you so much, Compton. And, we're so happy that you're feeling better, because let's face it, that's the main thing. I had one gentleman tell me one time, he had all kinds of ailments. I don't think his were as bad as mine, but you know, just pain, knee pain, back pain, same kind of things you were dealing with. And he said, Mike, you got to understand, as you get older and you start fighting these things, he said, I'd be willing to pay a whole lot just to feel a little better. And I think that's kind of where some of us on this call, but I think it's important for all of us to understand clearly that you don't have to be older, dilapidated, and dealing with all kinds of serious health issues to get benefits from this product, because everybody needs to sleep better. Everybody wants more energy. Everybody wants to be able to fight these diseases to maybe never have to have them like we do. And if your gut is in balance, order, as you'll learn if you'll do the research like I've asked you to, you'll see that there's a lot of things we face. You know, here's what a doctor told me years ago. He said, look, Mike, I want you to understand, you don't catch diabetes. You earn it. Think about that. It's known as the selfish disease because it's preventable. And so those of us that have it, we have it because we wouldn't listen and we made bad choices, and now we have to deal with the consequence of those choices. So I want all of you, now you may not be a diabetic, but guess what? If you have high blood pressure, if you have aches and pains, most of them you didn't catch. You earned them. It's called lifestyle. And so when you incorporate 96 organic, GMO, non-GMO, vegan products that are all designed by your creator to benefit the gut microbiome, your life is going to change beyond your wildest dreams. And that's just as plain and simple as I can put it. So our message to you folks today is real simple. There is one thing that you could do every day to achieve optimal health. And you don't have to eat 4 plates of broccoli, and you don't have to travel the world to get all these things. It's 2 liquids and a powder. Matter of fact, let me introduce you to Compton, Crich, and Wes Miller and I's new best friend. Friends. This is them. Now, I don't want you to think this is 3 different products. It's not. This is one system. This is called the Daily 3. And the reason the 2 liquids are called Next is because it's the next generation of Noni that is the main ingredients in these 2 food supplements. And I don't have time tonight to spin these things around and show you the ingredient list, but it's plain to figure out. Between the Phyto Power and the 2 Next beverages, it's 96. There's 96 ingredients that are listed. Nothing added, nothing. So I think they do put some purified water in the 2 liquids, but that's it. Other than that, it's all natural organic foods that have been harvested from all around the world. All right, so Mike, if I decide I want to do this, how much is it going to cost me? Well, it isn't $250 like it was costing me for my Amazon subscription. I feel like that pitch guy now on TV. It's not even $200. It's $185 if you want to pay retail. Now, if you're like me and I'd like to get as cheap as I possibly can, I like to think I'm not cheap, I'm wise, right? And the wisdom's kind of useless on its own. It's exercising the wisdom that really makes you wiser, right? And so if you go on a subscription, that's $155. Now, just so that you know, the subscription with this company can be changed at any time. You can go on, you can say, okay, I want subscription, pay $155, the next day go on and shut the subscription off. Why you would do that to yourself, I don't know. Because I'm going to ask you, when you try this product, do a couple things for you. Not for me, for you. 1, get educated. Do a little bit of time in the research so you understand what it's doing for your body. The second thing is do it for 90 days. It was right about the 90-day mark that I almost died, and that's how I had to get figured out that the stuff was working for me. I don't want you to go through that. I want you to get in touch with your doctor, let them know you're doing a program that helps your gut microbiome. We are known as the Gut Microbiome Company. And I told my doctor when I went back and my blood sugar fell and I had to go to the doctor, they're all scared for me. The first question is, well, what are you doing different? This is what I'm doing different. And I showed her the pictures of the labels on these 3 to look at the ingredients. And she was like, wow. But she knew about the gut microbiome. When I asked, oh, yeah, I know about that. I said, well, this is the thing. It's changing my life. And I said, do you think I'm going to one day not be a diabetic? She goes, oh, I know one day you won't be a diabetic. One day will I be off all these meds? Most. She said, but that procedural one, because you have stents, your doctor will never take you off of it. Great. So anyway, looks like I might get rid of all the other ones though, right? So this is a daily 3 system. How do you take it? Any way you want. You can't hurt them. The only thing I say don't put in them is alcohol. So I had one guy say, well, if it's got Noni in it, I could put Noni and some Stoli vodka, and won't that be a Stoloni? No, don't put it in Stoli. But waters, fruits, flavored waters, smoothies, whatever you want to do. The 2 liquids by themselves taste fantastic. They're not a problem. The powder is all natural ingredients from plants. So when I got to first taste it, I was at the home office of the company in Utah, and they said, now this, and they opened it up, this tastes a little earthy. So they put it in a little bit of water by itself because they wanted me to taste it by itself. I shook it up and I drank it. So yeah, it's earthy. It tastes like dirt. And so it was a situation where way do I drink mine? My wife puts an ounce of the 2 liquids in a little cup. We take a big scoop of that. I don't level it off. Whatever gets on a scoop, I put it in there and I shake it up real good. It's in a little Rubbermaid thing with a lid. She pre-makes them with the juices. Gets the juices in there, 1 ounce of each, and then it's in a little thing. I throw in the powder, shake it, and I drink. I'm done. Now, some people will tell you they like to drink the balance in the morning, the detox at night, put the powder in. Okay, you do it any way you want to do it. You can't hurt it. You're not going to change the molecules in it by adding another juice to it. I don't recommend alcohol. That might kill the bacteria. And by the way, I mentioned probiotic. Well, you need to know that probiotics by themselves are useless because a probiotic is a living bacteria and it needs food. That's called a prebiotic. And then they have waste. This bacteria that's good bacteria eats the prebiotic. Now it has waste. It's got to go somewhere. That's called postbiotic. And so I never knew all that. Probably none of you do either. That's what's in the phytopower. And so in addition to that, it's all those polyphenols that ramp this thing up and helps everything so much to benefit us the way that it is. Now, what about the company itself? Well, these are the 3 guys who started the company. Guy on the left's name's Kelly Olson. I worked with these 3 guys for over 20 years in the Noni company. And Kelly Olson, the far guy on the left, he was one of 5 that started the Noni company. Sean Whitney and Emily Day on the right, they worked in executive positions in the Noni company. And the 3 of them got together and said, look, we've learned about Noni. There's got to be other plants. And they went on the search, ran into this gut microbiome thing, talked to the scientists that they met in the Noni company, talked to the doctors, and put together the product as you see it today. Now, these 5 are co-founders of the company, and they have worked with the 3 founders for over 20 years. And it's this team that I was so fortunate when I got that phone call from them saying, hey, look, we know you enjoyed Noni. We think we got something you're going to like a whole lot better. Will you join our company? And I did. Went to Utah, brought home the package. And what was it going to do for me? I had no idea. Like I said, if I had any inkling what it was going to do, maybe I'd have been taking my vitals the way I should have been. It wouldn't have ended up in the emergency room, right? That's how I learned that this stuff's solid, man. It really works. So here's the thing I want you all to remember. This stuff has no side effects. It can hurt you. It may help you, and it just might change your life forever. And that's what we wish for you. So if you want to take medicines, here's some. Ozem, Trulicity, Farga, all these things you see on TV. Look at the list of the side effects that these things have. I don't know about you, but I just soon avoid all those. But here's what you need to think about. You do have a choice, and the choice is yours. Do you want to go the lane? By the way, you want to have an interesting statistic? The number 4 cause of death in the United States is your doctor. A doctor told me that. Number 4 cause. Cancer, diabetes, heart disease, and your doctor. Over-medication and misdiagnosis. You probably know somebody that had that happen to them. Now, one last slide, and we're going to be done here. We're not having a training this week. because it being a holiday, a lot of people are traveling. Everybody won't be able to get on here. So we just wanted to briefly mention, we talked about this daily 3 system. We call it a pack. It's a 3-pack. That's what you use daily. So here's, for those of you that might have some interest, making a little bit of extra money, or maybe you just like to earn a little bit of something to get your product for free, because this does use an affiliate program very similar to Amazon. What will happen is, if when you share this with other people, so if you'll notice there in the, let me get my little sparkly going here. So if you'll notice, when you first start, you're what's called a member, and this is a subscription. You get 130 points for your $155, and you buy a pack. That's 1 pack. And here's your commission. That's going to pay you through 5 generations of referrals. But let's not get into all that. Let's just focus on the early part. So if you'll notice, you get 15% commission. Now, you probably don't have anything to compare that to, so I'll give it something to you. The Noni company that we were with, they paid us 20% on anybody you shared the product for the first 60 days that they bought product. So if they bought it 1 month, you got 20%. They bought it next month, you got 20%. Anything they purchase after the 60 days, you got 1%. This is 15% forever. It doesn't change. But now if you decide, hey, it's pretty cool. Now, let's say you share it with Adam. You get 15% of whatever he buys. Now, he gets the same deal you do because it's an affiliate program. So he shares it with Brad. Now, he gets 15% of Brad. But look, you get 5% of Brad, and you may not even know who he is, and so on and so on. But now look, when you make merchant, when you hit the merchant position, you have to have 3 people that are on 1 pack each. So they're at 130 points. And them 3, have to have a total of 8 packs. Well, them plus 3 is 4, right? So that's halfway there. So when you have 8, now you become a merchant, and here's what happens. Now when Adam sponsors Brad, instead of 5%, you get 10. You just gave yourself a raise. And if Brad happens to get Charlie, instead of 2%, you get 3%. So you see how it starts to grow. And then the next position with the company is called builder. To get builder, you have to have the same 3 people, but now those 3 people each need to have 6 packs. Now that ain't personal, that's in their group. So if they've just shared it with 2 or 3 like you have, the same thing's going to happen to them. But each of those 3, we call those legs. Each of those legs have to have a minimum of 6 packs in it. You have to have a total of 40 packs in your whole group. Now look what happens. Now you go to 4%, 3, so you're getting raises, but you pick up another 3% on your 6th level. So that if you put this in your mind, this would be you sponsored Adam, Adam sponsored Brad, Brad sponsors Charlie, Charlie sponsors David, David sponsors Edward, Edward sponsors Francis. Got to put a woman in there at least one time, right? Then you get paid for it all. So ever who does the sponsoring, that's their first generation of referral. Then it moves on, so on and so on. So by the time you get down here to whatever I said, Francis, with Francis, when she buys her case, then this guy gets the 15% because they sponsored him, right? But look, you're going to continue to get this percentage. You get 3% of that order. There ain't no way you know who Francis is. It's really cool. And then you can move up. Now, when you hit the leader position, it's all the same thing. You got the same 3 legs, but now instead of 6 packs, they have to have 25. And your whole group, through all 6 levels, have to be a total of 200. Then you get this 3% bonus, leadership bonus. And that's paid just on the 6th level. So you actually are going from 4% to 7. And then you get this called the dynamic compression bonus of 16%. That's like profit sharing in the whole company. Folks, when you hit this position here, financially your world changes a little bit. And then it just gets gooder and gooder. But we'll do that sometime in the future when we got more time to explain it. So that's all I got for you. I thank you guys for being here. Hopefully you're having a good weekend.